Hi guys, welcome to another episode here with the A&A Mustangs. So today we are getting started on swapping out the engine on the 2002 Ford Mustang here. So follow along. I'm gonna pretty much show you guys if you're doing an engine swap on your car, or replacing your engine, whether it's a used one, new one, whichever the case is, or you just need to pull the old engine out to get it rebuilt, and pretty much same steps will apply. 99 to 04 will be the same. There's a few differences in the transmissions, but they're basically the same. And then 95 to 98 are pretty similar, except you might have a 5.0 liter in there on the early ones. But anyways, got the new engine here. I had wrapped it just so I don't get no dust in it from all the other work that's been going on around here. But I'm gonna take this off today. To get started, this engine came with the oil pan and timing cover already installed on it, so I don't have to get that out of the old one. I do have to swap out the valve covers from the other engine, so once the other engine comes out, then we'll get those swapped out. To get started today though, I do have a set of BBK tune length headers, so I'm going to be putting these on here. So pretty much just show you guys. If you're doing this on the car, it's going to be obviously a little bit harder because the engine will be in there, but basically the same thing as far as installing them on the engine. So that's where I'm going to get started with that. After that, then we're going to get started in probably removing the bumper off the car, the hood, getting in jack stands, and then getting ready to pull the other engine out, everything out. So with this set here, it is the BBK ceramic coated, so they are they are shiny, kind of like chrome, but not really. It's a little bit dull when it's ceramic. Plus it probably didn't help that I have paint all over the garage, so I always get everything painted in here. So for the most part though, they're not as shiny as full-on chrome, but they do keep some of the heat away from everything else. They keep it inside of the tube. So these are the I don't even see a tag anymore. So I got these off eBay. I got them for a good price. They're brand new, so that's probably why the box doesn't have a tag. But anyways, it's like a 15, 16, 15, 17, something like that's the part number. You can go to the website, and actually any of the places that sell performance parts have those. So anyways, just follow along. We're gonna get started with that. Wrapping the engine, getting the headers on there, and then we'll go ahead and I don't know how big this video would be. We might get to start removing some of the pieces off the car, or we might just kind of cut it a little bit shorter, putting the headers on this engine, and then we'll pick up the next video with the next component. So stay tuned. Alright, so I got everything on box here. Couple different things. So this engine obviously has brand new studs here. I could just leave the studs. I know a lot of people will do that. It's just harder if the headers are in the engine. Plus it looks like here on the back you would hit one of the tubes. So you definitely don't want to do the studs. I'm not sure if the factory ones are a little bit shorter than these, but if you're on the engine, you would need like that much room out of the engine to pull them in. And so if you're in the engine bay, I don't think you have that room. So being able to just kind of put them right next to the head and put the bolts in there would be easier. So these have a hex on the inside that come off, so I'm going to do that now. I know with the factory studs, they actually have like a maybe 5.5 or 6 millimeter hex on the outside, so you take them off that way. Be very careful. So it just depends where you live. If you live in a place that has a lot of rust, they might break in there, so be very careful. You might want to spray some penetrating oil and then let them soak a little bit before you move them around a little bit. So I'm going to take them off with the hex, and then I'm just going to use the bolts, the hardware that came with it. So these have a small head to get your bolt around there, and then I will use the gaskets that came with the kit as well. Not the stickers, but got the studs taken off, so these are very simple to take off. You know, got your hex in there, and they were really, well, they weren't really tight because they're, you know, everything is brand new in there. So I'm ready to put these on. So the headers here, they have the two little slits here. That's so you can put a bolt if you want, and then you can slide it in. You know, you can put the gasket in with the bolt and then slide the header in. I usually just like to kind of put it in here, put a couple bolts and start them that way. I do always like to use the Ultra Copper exhaust gasket maker on a little bit around the ports. I've been using this for a while now. I started using this and I haven't had a problem with leaking. So on the other car, Junior did have to do the gaskets not long ago, and that's because they were leaking. So, you know, I always like using this now, and it's just a little bit extra protection for leaking, especially on the exhaust. Usually it's hard to, you know, get the exhaust redone. So I'm going to be putting some of this in there as well. I just like to put a little bit on the header side, around the port, you know, put the gasket in there. I'll put a little bit on this side, and then put in the head. Alright, got the header in here. Everything's pretty much just finger tight. So the bolt down here is the one that's harder to get to, but if you put it in, you know, one of the first ones to put in, because if you tighten everything, I don't think you have enough room to put it in there. So just keep that in mind. This one here at the bottom, put it in first. Or, you know, I did the corner ones, but before you tighten anything down, make sure you start that one. I'm looking for the torque specs here. Just so I can torque the bolts. So let's see. Exhaust manifold 14 to 16 foot-pounds. So just have a Haynes manual there. So. Roughly about 180 inch-pounds. So let's see here. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. All right. Keep in mind that, like this bolt back here, there's no way I'm going to be able to get it with the torque wrench. So once I tighten them all, just to see kind of what the feel of them are, I'll do it with the wrench. But I don't even think, yeah, I can't get to this one either. So. The beauty of putting headers on, right? You know, if you see the factory manifold on these cars, it's really squared off. So, you know, the port just goes right off. And plus, since the engine's going to be coming out, this is probably the best time to do headers. You know, with the engine in the car is a pain in the butt. So. Bottom bolt, you can't even get the head of the wrench in there. It's so tight, so you pretty much just have to do the open side of the wrench. And it's not hard yet, you know, because the head is really clean, but if your head, you know, has bad threads or any, you know, kind of, you might want to clean those before you put the headers on and make it way easier. So that one and this one, I'll give it a kind of a hand time. So that's how tight it should be, which is not that bad, but if you don't really get a ratchet in there, then it'll probably be kind of hard to get, you know, your wrench to make it that tight. But you gotta do what you gotta do. So. And that's where putting a little bit of RTB will help, you know, make sure everything seals good. But I did put a little bit of Loctite on the bolts just to make sure they don't back out. So I'm just gonna go back through these and make sure they're the right, you know, with the torque, since I timed the other ones by hand. Everything looks pretty even. To make sure everything is tight. So that's pretty much it as far as this side here. Everything is good. The bolts we can get to are torqued to spec, so good to go. You can get these pretty inexpensive at the parts store or, you know, Harbor Freight. But all right, so we're gonna go ahead and do the other side now. So that's pretty much set. On the aftermarket exhaust or the header, you get two studs for the other side where there's a gasket factory. On this side, you end up pretty much just doing like a regular bolt through there. It just goes right in, and then, you know, your X pipe, H pipe, or factory, you know, mid pipe would just go in there. So pretty basic. I kind of wish they would have done studs kind of like the factory on these, but you know, that's how these are done on this particular engine anyway. So, you know, they just have the big hole there. EGR valve goes in there. Now on my car, not 100%, but I might be getting rid of the EGR system, and nothing performance really. You know, it's more like off-road, not for emission friendly, but also to clean up the engine bay. So we'll see. I mean, maybe not, I don't know yet. I've been kind of debating that idea for a while. You know, the car's gonna get tuned here eventually, so the tuner can always turn the EGR off so I don't get the check engine light on. But again, I'm not 100%, so I might not If I do end up deleting the EGR, you just have to get, they sell kits everywhere, but it's pretty much just a cap for this, rather than welding it, just in case I need to put it back in there, because the pipe just goes back here. So they sell the cap for here, and then a little plate for the intake manifold. Everything else you just remove and make sure you kept the piece of the vacuum hoses and everything. So again, I might not, we'll see. I kind of have to make a decision here, because if I do want that stuff, I gotta order it so it comes in. I don't want to, you know, be waiting on a little plug to finish the engine install. So, well, I'll have to kind of make that decision here. Maybe just order it. It's really inexpensive. I think it's maybe tops of $20 or so. I know a lot of people that make their own. Just go to like Home Depot and get some Alright, got this side all installed. Kind of weird, the bolt that's right here, the second one from the front and the bottom, I couldn't get the ones that they supplied the hardware in there. It just wouldn't, you know, the two was way too close. At first I found one, but it was too short. Then I found another bolt that I have that's the same head. It's just about 3/16 of an inch shorter. And that one was able to get it in, and you know, it has enough threads to go in there. So I used that one. There was no way I could get this in there even if the header was off. Just the angle, you know, it's not cut like this one's here, so it just wouldn't go in. So the one I used was just barely shorter and it went in, so I used that one. Last thing we have to do is put these studs in there. So straightforward on these, you just thread them in. And .5. Just get your little ratchet, thread it in. Normally with these, when you put the exhaust flange on there, it's gonna finish tying them up if anything, but put a little bit of thread locker in there, that way they're locked in there. And that's it. Alright, so we got this part done, guys. I think we're gonna cut this video here just because it took a little bit longer than I thought. But if you have any comments, suggestions, please you know, go into the comments down below. Please subscribe to our channel, and you know, catch us on the next one when we start getting everything ready to drop this in. Thank you.